matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. Always, always. 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 What would I live for if I don't have you in my life? What would I gain if you take the Holy Ghost? What would have become of me if I didn't see your light? What would have been said of me if you didn't hold my hand? And now I've come to realize that you are all I have. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Shall we all rise for the academic procession right now? Please, let's rise for the academic procession. The academic procession is coming in right now. Let's remain standing. Yes, just coming in right now. The HOD Chemistry, Professor Mopilola Idowu, and of course, the Chairman Committee of Deans and Directors, Professor Wilfred Alegbeleye. I see the representative of the University Librarian coming. The boss, Professor Mr. Chukwuwike Zepiasu, and of course the registrar, Dr. Bola Adekola, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, Professor Clemens Adiofun, the DVCA, Professor Bolanle Akiroluale, the inaugural lecturer, Professor Mrs. Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE, and of course the Vice Chancellor and the Chairman of the University inaugural lecturer, Professor Felix Kolawole Salako. You are most welcome, sir. While we remain standing place, we'll start honestly by having the national anthem, then thereafter the universal anthem. Thank you. Universal anthem. Let's have a seat, please. Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. And you are welcome to the 67th inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Agricultural Abeokuta, holding here at Professor Oluyemisi Balogun Ceremonial Building. Just before we go deep and earnestly into today's lecture, I crave your indulgence to humbly introduce to you our principal officers, the inaugural lecturer, and of course, other dignitaries on the high table, because we are always time conscious whenever we are having a program in our university. I'm starting first and foremost with the Vice Chancellor of the university and also the Chairman of the University Inaugural Lecture, in person of Professor Felix Kolawole Salako. Seated beside him is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, in person of Professor Bolanle Akeredolu-Ale. Of course, we have with us here the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, Professor Clemens Adiofun. You are most welcome, sir. The Registrar, Dr. Bola Adekola. The Bossa, Mr. Chukwuike Ezekweazo. And of course, the representative of the University Librarian, in person of Dr. Ajiboye, is in our midst this afternoon as well. We have the Chairman, Committee of Deans and Directors in our midst this afternoon, in person of Professor Wilfred Alegbeleye. And of course, we have the Dean of Coffees also in our midst, Professor Adio Akinwale. That is the Dean of the College of the Inaugural Lecturer. We have with us the Head of Department, Chemistry. That is the Department of the Inaugural Lecturer, in person of Professor Mupilola Idowu. And of course, our own 67th Inaugural Lecturer, who also happens to be the former Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, in person of Professor Mrs. Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for that round of applause. It's highly commendable. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I want to invite the Vice Chancellor to give us, or to lead us into the profile of our inaugural lecturer. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, let's give him a round of applause as he's coming.
I would like to respectfully call Prof. EROMOSELE. I normally call her Mama. So if I call her Mama, I know I'm talking about Prof. EROMOSELE. And Baba is there too. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, the Registrar of the University, the Bossa and the University Librarian, the Inaugural Lecturer, Professor Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE, Dean College of Physical Sciences, other deans and directors, the head of Department Chemistry, other heads of departments and units, members of the EROMOSELE and Bankole family, invited guests, members of the university community, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and our own students, the greatest FUNAABites. Greatest FUNAABites. I thought you have gone home. It is a great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome you all to the 67th edition in the series of inaugural lectures in the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Our inaugural lecturer of today is Professor Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE ní Bankole. She was born on November 26, 1957 in Lagos to the family of late Pastor Sylvester Olanrewaju Bankole and Mrs. Esther Abiodun Bankole of Ligegere Compound, Ake, Abeokuta, Ogun State. She attended St. Matthias Catholic Primary School, Lafiaji, and St. Mary's Catholic Primary School, Broad Street, both in Lagos in the period 1963 to 1968. Our Lady of Apostles Secondary School, Yaba, Lagos, 1969 to 1973. Methodist Girls High School, Yaba, Lagos, 1973 to 1975. For higher school education, University of Benin City, 1975 to 1978, where she earned a bachelor's degree in industrial chemistry. On completion of the one-year mandatory National Youth Service in 1979, she proceeded to the Victoria University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, 1979 to 1981, for a master's degree in polymer and fiber science under the sponsorship of Petroleum Training Development Fund. In 1978, she obtained a doctoral degree in chemistry from the University of Benin City. Professor Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE began her academic career as an assistant lecturer on January 5, 1985, in the Department of Chemical Sciences of the Lagos State University, Ojo, Lagos. On the call of family duties, she moved to take up appointment with the Federal University of Technology, Yola, as a lecturer too in 1988, where she was up to 2002. Again, pressed by family duties, she transferred her services to the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, as a senior lecturer in the Department of Chemistry in 2002. In all this, and undeterred by serial interruptive relocations, she rose through the ranks to become Professor of Industrial Chemistry in 2008. Professor EROMOSELE, a fellow of Institute of Chartered Chemists of Nigeria since 2007, fellow of the Chemical Society of Nigeria 2011, has held several academic and administrative positions in the university and served in several committees. At the Federal University of Technology, Yola, she was head of the Department of Chemistry, Deputy Dean, School of Science and Technology Education, Warden, Nana Asmau Hall, member of the school board and member of Senate. At the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, she held various positions as listed below: Coordinator, Pre-Degree Program, Warden, Iyalode Tinubu Hall, Head, Department of Chemistry, Pioneer Dean, College of Physical Sciences, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic. Notable committees in which she has served include member, Committee on Establishment of College of Management Sciences, Admissions Committee, University Senate, Gender Mainstreaming Committee, and many other committees of the university. Furthermore, Professor Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE has held very sensitive positions in the university, notably Chairperson, Students' Welfare and Hostels Management Committee, and Chairperson, the University Admissions Committee. In other capacities, she has served as member, Governing Council of St. Albert and Great Seminary, Idowu of Honor, Abeokuta, a degree awarding institution of the Catholic Church. She has been an external examiner for PhD and MSc candidates in several universities, external assessor for professorial ranks in 6 Nigerian universities, chairperson and member, National Universities Commission Accreditation Team to several universities. In scholarly activities, Professor EROMOSELE's interests are in two broad areas, namely physicochemical, mechanical, and thermal properties of polymers and raw materials research. For the former, our studies have been on high-tonnage synthetic industrial polymers, polyvinyl chloride, and nylon 6. For the latter, studies relate to seed oils and cellulosic fibers. From all these, Professor EROMOSELE has published a considerable number of articles in local and international journals. And in the process, she has supervised over 100 undergraduate students, 5 masters and 3 doctoral theses as a major supervisor. In addition, she has supervised several postgraduate students in this university. In 2008, she was sponsored by the Third World Organization for Women in Science to present aspects of her work at the International Workshop on Advanced Polymer Science and Turbulent Drag Reduction at the International Center for Theoretical Physics, Trieste, Italy. She was also sponsored by TWOWS to attend the 4th General Assembly and International Conference, Women Scientists in a Changing World, in 2010. Professor EROMOSELE is married to Professor Ighodalo Clement EROMOSELE. Can you stand up for recognition? A former Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic of this university, and both are blessed with children and grandchildren. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite Professor Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE from the Department of Chemistry, College of Physical Sciences, to present the 67th inaugural lecture of this university, titled Chemistry, Industry, and Development. Thank you for your attention, and God bless you all.
The Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Academic and Development, the Registrar, the Bursar, the University Librarian, Dean, College of Physical Sciences, Deans of other colleges and postgraduate school and directors, Head, Departments of Chemistry, and other heads of departments, distinguished members of the University Senate, all academic and non-teaching staff, my Lord spiritual and temporal, members of my family, all special guests and friends of the university, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press, and great FUNAABites. I am immensely grateful to Almighty God for the grace to stand before this distinguished audience today to deliver the 67th inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Nigeria. I deeply appreciate the Vice Chancellor, Professor Felix Kolawole Salako, for the institutional approval of and support for the inaugural lecture. This inaugural lecture is the 4th from the Department of Chemistry since creation out of the defunct Department of Chemical Sciences in 2001. The preceding 3 lectures from the Department of Chemistry, then under the defunct College of Natural Sciences, were delivered by Professors I.C. EROMOSELE, F.O. Bamiro, and O.O. Odukoya in this order. It is therefore a singular honor and pleasure for me that I deliver the first inaugural lecture from the College of Physical Sciences, of which I have the privilege of being the pioneer dean. To God be all glory. This inaugural lecture gives me the opportunity to share with you the over 35 years of my experience in the academia, 20 years of which I've been at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. The title of my inaugural lecture is Chemistry, Industry, and Development. And in the terrace, I shall attempt to provide historical perspectives to chemistry as a discipline which has had ambiguous influence on civilization, prompting the question, what is not chemistry? I shall then situate my modest research effort as an industrial chemist, followed by matters arising and the imperatives of good governance. Chemistry is the study of matter, its chemical and physical properties, the chemical and physical changes it undergoes, and the energy changes that accompany these processes. Matter means anything that has mass and occupies space. Thus, chemistry is the central science, underscored by its connectivity to all other sciences and resultant interdisciplines, as shown in Scheme 1. Historically, chemistry and civilization are inextricably linked, animated by the inherent desire of man to seek, to identify, utilize, and change materials in the environment. The manifestations of these attributes can be gleaned from the fact that early potters found beautiful glazes to decorate and preserve their wares. Headsmen, brewers, and vintners used fermentation techniques to make cheese, beer, and wine, respectively. Housewives leached the dye from wood ash to make soap. Smiths learned to combine copper and tin to make bronze. Grafters learned to make glass. Leather workers tanned hides. But in all this, chemistry has its roots in the works and beliefs of the alchemists, notably the Arabic alchemist Jabir ibn Hen, who recognized 4 Aristotelian elements, namely air, earth, fire, and water, in addition to 2 philosophical elements, sulfur and mercury. These were recognized as irreducible components of the universe. He is believed to be the author of 22 scrolls, which describe methods of distillation, crystallization, sublimation, and evaporation. A major drawback, however, in the activities of alchemists was the absence of systematic naming of compounds and agreement on scientific methods for ease of reproducibility of the experiment. In this regard, the English chemist Robert Boyle is generally believed to be the founder of modern chemistry in pioneering modern experimental scientific methods and by his law on the inverse relationship between absolute pressure and volume of gas at constant temperature within a closed system. A flurry of remarkable developments by chemists followed after Boyle. One discovered that air is a combination of gases, an isolation of oxygen, and 7 other discrete gases by Joseph Priestley, an English chemist. Establishment of the law of definite proportions, stating that a chemical compound will always have its own characteristic ratio of elemental components by Joseph Proust, a French chemist. The discovery of the law of conservation of mass by Antoine Lavoisier, isolation of carbon dioxide by Scottish chemist Joseph Black in 1754, isolation of hydrogen by English chemist Henry Cavendish in 1766, which he called inflammable air. The announcement of modern atomic theory by the English meteorologist and chemist John Dalton in 1803, stating that all matter was composed of small indivisible particles called atoms, and that atoms of a given element possesses unique characteristic and weight. The establishment of the structure of benzene by German organic chemist Friedrich August Kekule later in 1865 as consisting of 6 carbon rings with alternating single and double bonds, laying the foundation for the profound development of the chemical industry in Germany in latter part of the 19th century. The construction of the periodic table by the Russian chemist Dmitry Mendeleev in 1871, in which all the known chemical elements were arranged in order of increasing atomic weight, now appropriately atomic number, which then showed a recurring pattern or periodicity of properties within groups of elements. This singular act has been described as the most potent icons of science in the embodiment of the most fundamental principles of chemistry. The foregoing developments were foundational for the evolution of the chemical industry, strengthened and sustained by research and development. Analogous to chemistry as the central science is the centrality of the chemical industry to all other industries, as shown in Scheme 2. The chemical industry is concerned with conversion of raw materials to intermediates or products for domestic and industrial utilization and applications. It is concerned with making 3 categories of products, namely inorganic chemicals, organic chemicals, and specialized products. The unique features of the chemical industry, as is seen in Scheme 2, are production of materials that are used by other industries to make products, example, agricultural, industrial, and consumer goods. Production of materials that are used by other industry to make products, example, agricultural, industrial, and consumer goods. Utilization of intermediates and byproducts of synthetic processes of the chemical industry by other industry as raw materials. Utilization of waste products from other industries for production of useful chemicals and products, enhancing environmental waste management regime. The pivotal role of chemical industry in the development of countries may be appreciated by the economies of Singapore, Malaysia, and South Korea. Singapore, a country of less than 6 million in population, has no natural resources, has no feedstocks, has no mineral deposits, no crude oil, and no natural gas. Yes, Singapore is the home to some of the world's largest chemical plants. In 2010, the chemical industry, including pharmaceuticals, produced the largest share, 37% of the country's manufacturing output, with a value of 81 billion US dollars. With 4 major refineries, Singapore by 1970 has become one of the largest refining centers in the world, with a capacity of more than 1.2 million barrels per day, producing products such as naphtha, gasoline, oils, paraffin, etc. As of 2020, the GDP per capita of Singapore was 59,797.8 US dollars. Malaysia, on the other hand, with a population of 32.36 million as of 2020, is richly endowed with natural resources, including petroleum, with a total reserve of 18.82 billion barrels oil equivalent and a production rate of 600,000 barrels per day. The country has the 14th and the 25th largest gas and oil reserve, respectively, in the world. Gas production as of 2005 was approximately 5.7 billion standard cubic feet per day. Deploying a series of industrial strategies and policies, the Malaysian government has helped to kindle manufacturing industry and to attract foreign investment, paving the way for a robust chemical industry. The country is the 2nd largest exporter of liquefied natural gas in the whole world. The plastic industry are well established, underscored by the ready availability of feedstock from the petrochemical industry. The bulk of the plastics produced in the country are in their non-primary forms: household goods, acrylic sheets, packaging, etc. But beyond petroleum, Malaysia is the second largest producer of palm oil, accounting for 39% of global production, while exports of the commodity accounts for 44%. In 2016, the country's total palm oil production was 2.1 million metric tons, valued at $39.3 billion. There are more than 15 oleochemical plants producing materials for the manufacturing industry, food, pharmaceutical, cosmetics, detergents, etc. Furthermore, Malaysia was the world's 5th producer of natural rubber at 0.6 million tons in 2016. In 2018, for the period January to August, Malaysia's export of palm and palm oil-based products amounted to $7.23 billion. Through value addition, Malaysia is an exporter of rubber products, which include surgical gloves, latex thread, wires, cables, and other electrical conductors, seal and gasket, farm products, belting amounting to $4.59 billion in 2017. In all of this, there is value addition to the commodities, palm oil, palm kernel oil, and natural rubber through sustained research and development programs, in which the same way as it is for petroleum crude. Thus, the chemical industry of Malaysia is foremost in the world in the production and export of oleochemicals derivable from palm oil, as shown in Scheme 3. The aftermath of all this is a productive populace in economic activities with GDP per capita of $10,401 as at 2020. Foreign exchange reserve of that country is $108 billion, and unemployment is as low as 3.4%. In the 1950s, South Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world and the 3rd poorest in Asia, having the highest population density on a very infertile land. South Korea imports most of its raw materials, and the development of chemical industry proceeded in 5 phases. The first 3 phases, 1960 to 1990s, were government-led via economic development plans. But from the 1990s, it has been private sector driven. Development in the petroleum sector is profound, marked by heavy investment in research and development, amounting to 5% of GDP in 2012 by the government. Overall, exports have played a major role in the economy. In 2009, shipments by South Korea's chemical and petrochemical industry were valued at $87.7 and $56.2 billion respectively. The 2 sectors accounted for 8.9 and 5.7% of South Korea's total manufacturing shipments. In 2012, the country exported 35.7 billion worth of petrochemicals, representing 7.7% of the country's total exports. By 2017, South Korea was rated the 5th exporter of chemicals in dollar terms. Thus, the country with a population of 51.78 million as of 2020 has GDP per capita of $31,489.1, and the chemical industry now provides for domestic demands in pharmaceutical, dyes, paints, etc., in addition to meeting export demands. Mr. Chairman, from the foregoing accounts, it is pertinent and appropriate to examine the chemical industry in Nigeria. Nigeria has an estimated population of 206.14 million and GDP per capita of $2,097.1, and is richly endowed with natural resources, which include petroleum crude and 34 different types of solid minerals. Indeed, solid mineral exploitation by the colonialists began in 1903, before the amalgamation, and tin, coal, columbite, bauxite, and lead were exported. Coal production reached 574,758 tons in 1960. In 2016 and 2017, aggregate production of solid minerals were estimated at 43.94 and 38.53 million tons, respectively. A notable mineral resource is bitumen, spread across Edo, Ondo, Ogun, and Lagos. Indeed, there is a huge deposit of bitumen in Irele local government area of Ondo State at a proven level of 42.74 billion metric tons, the largest in Africa and the second largest in the world after Canada. Yet, mining of the solid minerals contributes less than 1% of the country's GDP, meaning that the domestic industry on it is underdeveloped, with consequent importation of locally available resources. In regard to petroleum crude, Nigeria aggregates production, including condensates and natural gas liquid, averaged 1.72 million barrels per day, or 627.80 million for the year 2017. The estimated average capacity utilization of the country's 4 refineries in Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna was 20.9% in 2017, with aggregate production of petroleum products of 3.7 billion liters made up of premium motor spirit, automotive gas oil 23.7%, fuel oil 22.3%, dual purpose kerosene 14.1%, fuel and losses 5.2%, liquefied petroleum gas 2.8%, and asphalt 0.1%. But consumption of petroleum products for 2017 was estimated at 15.87 billion liters, with PMS taking the lion's share of 83.9%. It is noteworthy that ab initio, the installed refined capacity for the 4 refineries, 2 in Port Harcourt, 1 each in Warri and Kaduna, was 445,000 barrels per day of crude oil. Unable to refine it over the years, with operating capacity averaging 20.9%, over 300,000 barrels of crude oil per day is sold or swapped by Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation for importation of fuel to meet domestic demands of petroleum products. Accordingly, Nigeria's import bills on petrol were 1.97 trillion and 2.99 trillion in 2017 and 2018 respectively. As seen in section 3.1, Singapore, with only 4 refineries, has the capacity to refine 1.2 million barrels of crude oil per day to meet both domestic and export demands. Substantial amounts of the chemical used for production in Nigeria are imported. In 2017, Nigeria import trade by sector was dominated by imports of minerals applicable to South Korea. In contradistinction, Nigerian resource endowments are dormant, yet to find expression for national economic development. The Petroleum Industry Bill, which is intended to liberalize the petroleum industry in Nigeria, has been oscillating between the National Assembly and the Nigerian president, with no light from it, ostensibly because of the oil politics. Interestingly, 10 days ago, the PIB was assented to by Mr. President, and it is hoped that it will be faithfully implemented. Thus, the Nigerian economy is deprived of the manifold benefits that could accrue from a robust chemical industry in promotion of multi-sector activities, covering agriculture, building industry, household goods, detergents, automotive industry, cosmetics, etc. It is evident that Nigerian chemical industry is not developed and positioned to uplift productive economic activities. The country has not transcended yet the reality of economic diversification by ignoring value chain industrialization to find expression in development of its abundant endowments. Rather, the country is fixated in sales of crude oil, in which she has no demonstrable capacity in the technology of the upstream operations onshore and offshore. Mr. Chairman, the maxim, necessity is the mother of invention, has seen the development of basic principles of chemistry to meet critical society needs in what can be tersely described as chemistry in action. Research for development is the linchpin of every industrial enterprise and holds true for the chemical industry, providing innovative solutions to problems of society. There are a variety of utilitarian products in place through the instrumentality of chemistry in chemical reactions and in chemical technologies. Prior to 1846, dental surgery was carried out with patients fully conscious and at great pains. But in 1846, William Morton demonstrated ether-induced anesthesia for dental surgery. Till date, we have anesthesia for dental surgery. This was followed by the use of chloroform, popularized by Queen Victoria of England, who in 1853 gave birth to a child while anesthetized by chloroform. As a routine in airlines, passengers are taken through a protocol of safety procedures in case of emergency. A notable one is in the event of loss of pressure in the air cabin and the use of oxygen mask. The oxygen is generated in the circumstance by the simple reaction of sodium chlorate when heated. You have sodium chlorate when heated gives sodium chloride and oxygen, and it is that oxygen that you breathe in through the mask. Again, modern cars are equipped with airbags, which can inflate very rapidly in approximately 40 milliseconds, that is in less than 0.05 seconds, then deflate to provide a steady deceleration, cushioning the occupant from impact. The inflammation of that bag is made possible by the simple reaction of sodium azide. Sodium hexide unheated gives sodium and nitrogen. It is the nitrogen that is liberated that inflates the airbag. Beyond certain threshold, alcohol in blood can lead to loss of coordination, and driving under such circumstances can be dangerous. A suspect is required to exhale into a solution, a yellow-orange acidic solution of dichromate ion. The alcohol reduces the chromium in the dichromate ion from a +6 to a +3 oxidation state, the latter being green in color. The intensity of the green color is measured and is proportional to the amount of ethanol that was oxidized, as shown in that equation. My research contributions. Vice Chancellor, sir, over the years, I have been active in two broad areas of research. First, the physical, chemical, and thermal properties of industrial polymers. Second, on raw material research and development. These areas are consistent with my training in industrial chemistry, with specialization in polymer science. Studies on physicochemical and thermal properties have been on high tonic synthetic industrial polymers, nylon 6 and polyvinyl chloride, and on natural polymers, namely cellulose fibers and starch. In both cases, the interest has been to establish conditions under which their physicochemical, thermal, and mechanical properties can be improved upon for greater and more effective utilization as industrial materials. On nylon 6, I have examined the anisotropy of the dynamic modulus at low frequency in drum films of the polymer in direction parallel and perpendicular to the draw direction. The anisotropy was of interest because when a polymer is oriented, such as by drawing, its macroscopic properties exhibit directional dependence. Previous studies on the directional variation of young bolus of polyamides were limited to that of nylon 6 films. In this study, nylon 6 films were used. Nylon 6 is a step growth polymer having an hexano 6 lambda repeat unit as shown below. Nylon 6 is one of the most widely used of all commercial nylons, semi-crystalline and highly valued for its strength, elasticity, and durability. As an engineering material, it finds applications as gears, bearings, bushes, and valve seats. As films, it is used widely in the food industry, primarily for packaging. And as fibers, it has a range of applications, which include knitted clothing, parachutes, toothbrush, and cordage, etc. Experimentation were done with the use of real vibrant viscoelastometer for measurement of storage modulus and the dynamic loss tangent at specific frequency of strain input. Furthermore, I have examined the effects of annealing on nylon 6 film using steam. Annealing is a heat treatment process which removes strains and stresses built in a material during formation and fabrication operations. For a polymer, annealing increases its density and improves heat resistance and dimensional stability when exposed to elevated temperature. From birefringence and viscoelastic properties measurement, I have established that drawing nylon silk film in the uniaxial direction aligns the molecules in the direction of draw, resulting in the independence of birefringence and modulus of the polymer on the degree of orientation, Bankole in 1981. Studies on polyvinyl chloride was against the backdrop of its thereby inhibiting elimination of HCl. Such stabilizers include metal salts of organic acid, organometallic compounds, and inhibitors of radical chain reactions. Heavy metal soaps of fatty acid have been demonstrated to exert some stabilizing effects on PVC against thermal and thermo-oxidative degradation. In this regard, we have examined the effects of heavy metal soaps, derivatives of seed oils, of Caya senegalensis, X americana, Balinat agapiatia, and Hura cryptans on thermal stability of PVC. Furthermore, we examine the stability of the polymer using metal soap of epoxidized seed oil. Because seed oils have unique physicochemical characteristics associated with their fatty acid profiles, the effects of the latter on stabilization of PVC by metal soap were also evaluated. For kaya seed oil, a polysaturate and iodine value 68 iodine per 100 gram, as shown in table 5, the stabilizing effects of the metal soaps, namely calcium, cadmium, lead, and zinc on the thermal degradation of PVC were assessed at 180 and 190 degrees centigrade from measurement of rate of dehydrochlorination, RDH, time required for degradation to attain 1% dehydrochlorination, TDH, and changes in intrinsic viscosities and levels of unsaturation of the degraded sample as shown in table 6. From these studies, we have established that metal soap of kaya seed oil are effective for stabilizing PVC against oxidative and non-oxidative thermal degradation in the order metal soaps of epoxidized oil is greater than metal soaps of unepoxidized oils is greater than that of seed oil. For the metal soaps, barium and cadmium were more effective than zinc and lead derivatives for stabilization of PVC as deduced from the intrinsic viscosity parameter of samples degraded at 190 degrees under thermo-oxidative conditions. These were corroborated from estimates on the number of double bonds in the polymer sample degraded in air and from the infrared measurement of PVC films, Oluyemisi and EROMOSELE in 2000. Oleochemicals derivable from palm oil and palm kernel oil has been shown in section 3.2 as foundational to agro-based industrialization processes in Malaysia. Therefore, the potentials of agro-driven industrialization based on abundant seed oils in Nigeria cannot be overstated. Thus, as an exploratory work, we have established the physical-chemical characteristics of a number of seed oils, edible and non-edible, some of which grow in the wild in the northern part of Nigeria. Some of them have been characterized in their fatty acid profiles. EROMOSELE and EROMOSELE, 1993. EROMOSELE et al., 1994 and 1998. Specifically, the fatty acid composition of H. batteri and X. americana have been determined as shown in table 12. These analyses were important for evaluation of the sustainability of the oils for a variety of applications, notably as base materials for paints and for nutritional status. For example, the presence of essential fatty acid, namely linolenic 1.34, linolenic 10.31, and arachidonic 0.60%, confers on the oil considerable nutritional value. In particular, linolenic acid is important for its metabolic role in the synthesis of prostaglandins. As alkyl resin derivative, Ximenia oil has been demonstrated to be an effective base material for the formulation of oil paints, underscored by its linolenic acid content and total unsaturation of 79%, which is comparable to the value for linseed, which is 75 to 90%. Unsaturation is a key property of the oil for suitability as base material for alkyl resin for paints. This property enables the alkyd in paints to undergo oxidative cross-link when exposed to air to form dry, tough, transparent, and infusible coatings. We have also demonstrated the suitability of H. cryptians seed oil for paint formulation via its alkyd resin, EROMOSELE et al. In 2014. The fatty acid compositions of the oil, as shown in table 13, showed a predominance of oleic acid at 63.2%, with total unsaturation of 66.5%, consistent with its iodine value of 177.6 iodine per 100 grams. We also blended H. cryptian seed oil with methyl urea at different ratios in the range 5 to 30% of the oil and characterize the resultant film in its physical, chemical, and mechanical properties. The modification of the oil by bending with methyl urea has demonstrated the potential to give polymer blends with improved properties as binders for emulsion planes. Because vegetable oils have become increasingly important as industrial raw material for a variety of applications, which include high-pressure lubricants, we have also examined the viscosity properties of a number of seed oils at varying conditions. As expected, the viscosities of the oils showed negative dependence on temperature over the range 30 to 70 degrees centigrade. The remarkably high viscosity values, even at high temperatures for ex-Americana seed oil, are noteworthy for its potential as base material for lubricants. The oil, ex-Americana, is being used as skin cosmetic for prevention of stretch marks in pregnant women and as hair conditioner in Southwest Angola. Furthermore, we have added value to 8 cryptians and sesame seed oils through the instrumentality of nanoscience and technology, a new branch of science concerned with creating nanoparticles and deploying them for a variety of applications in food, pharmaceutical industry, etc. In the pharmaceutical industry, nano emulsions are suitable for efficient drug delivery of active ingredients through the skin. In our studies, we prepared colloids, that is, oil in water, nano emulsions from urea cryptans and sesame oils for delivery of ciprofloxacin, a synthetic antibiotic. Mr. Chairman, the import of this expose is to emphasize the need for value addition to seed oils, which abound in our localities, domesticated and in the wild, for the overall promotion of the chemical industry in Nigeria. Cellulose is a polymer and the most abundant organic polymer on earth, which we have worked on. It consists of several hundreds to several thousands anhydroglucose units condensed and linked together linearly by the means of 1,4-beta-glucosidic bonds. Cellulose was discovered in 1838 by a French chemist, Anselm Paine, who isolated it from plant matter and determined its chemical formula. Cellulose is widely used, as you know, as fibers, textiles, etc., having a combination of properties, namely low cost, fine cross-section, high strength and durability, high thermal stability, good mechanical properties, ability to absorb moisture, easy dyeability, and wearing comfort. Moreover, its increasing importance as an industrial raw material resides in its biodegradability and in being a renewable resource, promoting sustainable development. However, cellulose has some interesting drawbacks, and these include poor solubility in many solvents, poor crease resistance, lack of thermoplasticity required for heat setting and shaping of garments, and poor dimensional stability during laundering and ironing. Over the years, we have studied the modification of cellulose through grafting of synthetic polymers onto fibers or pulp with the objective to impact on the intrinsic property of the former on the latter. In this regard, we have established the conditions under which synthetic polymers of the olefinic type can be effectively and optimally grafted onto cellulose and the kinetics and the mechanism of the processes. As an extension to these studies, we have also examined features of graft reactions using starch, an important raw material for a number of industrial processes and applications. The global starch market is projected to reach 156.3 million metric tons, underscored by the numerous applications in the food and non-food industry. Starch is an excellent pharmaceutical excipient given its non-toxic properties. Other notable applications include starch-based biodegradable polymers, starch derivative in detergents, as flocculants and as thickeners for textiles. Vice Chancellor, sir, in the realm of raw material research and development, plant proteins have become increasingly important in formulation of food products by food industry, ostensibly because of their relative low cost as compared with animal proteins, and also for reasons of their preference by some people. African yam bean, S. stenocappa, is one of the largely underutilized legumes found in various parts of Africa, with tubers and grain seeds, which are nutritious, having a percentage ratio of essential to non-essential amino acid in the range 45 to 47%, which is well above the 36% considered adequate for an ideal protein. Arogundade et al. In a number of studies, we have established appropriate conditions for effective isolation of S. stenocappa proteins. Specifically, water extractable S. stenocappa protein aggregates more with addition of either calcium ion or magnesium ion than at isoelectric point. In alkali extractants, except at pH 10, aggregation tendencies of the protein was in the order isoelectric point is greater than calcium ion, greater than magnesium ion. We have also examined the rheological characteristics of the protein isolate against the backdrop of its usefulness in quality control, consumer acceptability, design, and evaluation of food processing equipment. The flow of protein dispersion as a function of ionic strength, pH, temperature, and added plasticizer exhibited pseudoplastic behavior having flow behavior indices which were less than unity. The intrinsic values of the salt extracted proteins were lower than the corresponding ones for alkaline extracted proteins, as shown in Table 10, Arogundade et al. In 2011. Both isoelectrically precipitated protein and calcium proteinate exhibited yield stress. We have also worked on polyurethane. Polyurethane is a very versatile polymer with numerous applications as materials, which include foams, elastomers, thermoplastic, thermosets, adhesive, coating sealants, and fibers. Polyurethane is the product of a reaction between a diol, polyol, and a diisocyanate. These materials are obtained from petroleum sources, but environmental concerns demands increasing use of materials from bio sources because they are biodegradable. Seed oils are biodegradable and have functional groups which lend them readily to derivation reactions and productions of diols or polyols. In the preceding section, the use of metal soap derivatives or seed oil for stabilization of PVC has been mentioned. We have also demonstrated the use of seed oil for production of polyurethane elastomers, that is rubber. The properties of the polyurethane from seed oil derivative depend on a number of factors, which include the type, the composition, and the distribution of the fatty acid residue in the constituent triglycerides. Thus, the interesting properties of vegetable oil as pertaining to fatty acid constituents can have profound influence on the ultimate properties of polyurethane based on them. In one of our studies, we established the mechanical properties of polyurethane elastomer prepared at NCO/OH ratios of 1.02 and 1.50 using 3 different diisocyanates, namely hexamethylene diisocyanate, toluene diisocyanate, and 4,4-diphenyl methane diisocyanate, as shown in Table 20. Mr. Chairman, sir, from the foregoing, it is clear that value-added industrialization, deploying agro-raw materials, which abound in Nigeria, holds the promise to unlocking the economic potentials of the country and for effective job creation. Vice Chancellor, sir, there has been concern about the quality of our university education. Graduates, unemployability, and a perceived non-responsiveness of curricula to societal challenges, and in particular, failure to meet the needs of industry. But a cursory examination of chemistry curricula across countries in the world shows no fundamental difference in scope and content for the training of undergraduate students. Yet, it must be considered that there are a number of derivative programs, interdisciplinary in nature, which have evolved over the years in response to global challenges and the needs. Excuse me, please. Thank you. Which the role of industry cannot be underestimated. There is evidence of industry involvement in chemistry, curriculum development in United Kingdom and in Israel. Such participation by industry is to ensure that enough competent chemists are available for industrial chemistry plants. By and large, a chemistry curriculum should be designed to achieve the following at the personal level. Inspire the students with a sense of curiosity and wonder about the fundamental nature of the world around them. Empower them to make decisions about their own lives and critically evaluate scientific and technological developments that impact society. Equip them with the knowledge and skills to pursue further study and rewarding careers in the chemical sciences and a wide range of related fields. And at national level, the curriculum should ensure growth and productivity as exemplified in the UK, where the chemicals sector contributed £14.4 billion in value to the economy every year. Address global challenges such as climate change, water, and food security, health, and energy. Indeed, to achieve all this, delivery of chemistry curriculum in theory and in practice is an imperative, for in the latter rides a full understanding and appreciation of chemistry as an empirical science. Herein is the primal issue which confronts the dispensation of chemistry curriculum in Nigeria. In the absence of uninterrupted flow of water and electricity on our university's campuses, certain chemistry practical exercises have been circumscribed, to which virtually non-existent. Specifically, it is not feasible to conduct reflux for 24 hours continuously, manned or unmanned, let alone for any extended period, as is common to do in developed countries. A vast array of experimental chemical reaction processes that should promote hands-on experiment for students, undergraduates and postgraduates, has become inaccessible to them. An assessment of activities in a chemical laboratory can be made from the status of the chemical store, which is a reservoir of chemical reagents of both immediate and long-term needs. The latter is important because often the exigencies of research could necessitate the need for chemical reagents or reagents not initially conceived for the project. Because of paucity of funds, the chemical stores in many universities in Nigeria are stocked of reagents of immediate or recurrent need. The pioneer vice chancellor of this university, as Federal University of Technology, Abeokuta, the late Professor Chimere Ikoku, a chemist, understood the import and the desirability of a chemical store, truly defined, and he provided for it in the Department of Chemical Sciences. The chemicals have endured to this day, albeit the store is not being replenished over time and is now severely depleted. In all of this, it is evident that chemistry program is one of, if not the most expensive program in the university, and is thus more susceptible to financial distress when there is economic downturn, as it has been in Nigeria for some time now. Yet, chemistry is a core requirement for many students across disciplines and reflects clearly in calculations of full-time equivalent, a measure of contact with students in teaching and laboratory services. In resource allocation to programs, it is important to recognize FTE as a critical factor. Vice Chancellor, sir. The foregoing sections highlight the developmental role that the chemical industry can play in national economies where policies of government are enabling. Symbiotic relationship between research agencies, universities, polytechnics, research institutes, and industry is key to the promotion of the chemical industry for national development. There is evidence in many developed countries, in contrast to clear absence of such symbiosis in underdeveloped countries such as Nigeria. The Nigerian university system is in a parlor state, a victim of poor funding and misplaced priorities of government. It is also a victim of a political economy that is challenged on several fronts. It is therefore misleading and a contradiction that tuition is free in federal university, and yet funding by the federal government is unreflective of the aggregate funds for training of students. Lack of commensurate funding in this regard circumscribes the ability of the university to deliver on the curriculum for the benefit of students. In the circumstance, Tertiary Education Tax Fund, established as an intervention agency, now provides the bulk of the funding needs of universities. Non-commitment to funding by the federal government is evident, and also in a area of research institutes saddled with specific mandates to engage in research for development, ultimately to add value to the multiplicity of raw materials abounding in the country. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the concept of development is not in the provision of infrastructures by government alone, but is understood to mean the extent to which the citizens are involved in the provisions of such infrastructures, to which the extent to which the citizens are involved in the social, political, economic, and technological activities of any given country. Therefore, development is something that people do by themselves and for themselves, or it does not happen. It is evident that developed countries are the ones that have mobilized their peoples to productive activities. For Nigeria, the need for local capacity for productive activities through the promotion of endogenous technology cannot be overstated. The politics, poor management of resource endowments, and hence the low dividend derivable from them underscore their perception, particularly that of the crude oil as a resource curse in Nigeria. But as an industrial chemist, the minerals, solid, liquid, and gas are not, truth be told, resource curse. The crux of the matter resides in our inability to transform them into developmental resources for the benefit of citizens. A major encumbrance in this regard is the dysfunctional governance system, which by our constitution vests ownership of all these resources on the federal government that has not shown any willingness or desire to develop them. It is in this regard, sir, that I subscribe to the strident demands for governance reforms to allow states greater control of mineral resources with which they are endowed. This, sir, in my humble opinion, is the overriding imperative for unlocking the latent creative energies of Nigerians for development and ultimately for uplifting the country to a pride of place among the Committee of Nations. Vice Chancellor, sir, I've come a long way and I want to acknowledge the following persons. First, I thank Almighty God, the creator of heaven and earth, the I am that I am, who has sustained me to this very momentous time. All glory and honor to him forever and ever. Amen. Special tribute goes to my late parents, Pa Sylvester and Madam Esther Bankole Nishopeju of Ligegere Compound, Ake, who recognized the values and importance of education and gave my siblings and I quality education, for which I'm eternally grateful. Special thanks to my siblings, Mrs. Titilayo Ayeni, Engineer Olatunde Peter Bankole, Mrs. Elizabeth Oluyemisi Otukoya, and Dame Olayinka Oyegbangoshe, for their unconditional love and support. We have come a long way together since the demise of our father on August 7, 1974, and that of our mother on May 30, 2014. I appreciate my in-laws, Pa Samuel Salami, and Madam Catherine Obili Eromosele of Egware, Irua, Edo State, for their love, moral, and spiritual support while alive. May their souls rest in peace. I appreciate my brothers and sisters-in-law and their families, in particular, Honorable Solomon and Helen Eromosele, and Mr. and Mrs. Alexander Oriaifo. I acknowledge the goodwill I have received from all the vice chancellors of this great university, acting as substantive since I joined it in 2001. They are Professor J. Okoje, Professor I.F. Adu of blessed memory, Professor I. Adamson, Professor Olaya Balogun, Professor Obi Oyewole, and Professor Ololade Enikwome. I appreciate most sincerely Professor J. Okoji, under whom I was offered employment as senior lecturer in the Department of Chemical Sciences. I appreciate you all for the opportunities to serve the universities at various times. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, please permit me to formally appreciate Professor Obi Oyewole in whose tenure I have the singular honor and privilege to be appointed the pioneer female Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic. An ex-officio member of the governing council of this university. I will also want to thank the current Vice Chancellor, Professor Felix Kolawole Salako, under whom I had a brief stint in my twilight in office as Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic. I pray, sir, that you will complete your tenure successfully and strong too. I appreciate and recognize Professors CFI Onka, S.T. Olagoke, T.A. Arowolo, and Dr. Mrs. M. Salam for their support at various times. Many thanks too to the current Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Bolanle Akeredoluale, Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, Professor Clement Adeofun, the Registrar, Dr. Bola Adekola, the Librarian, Dr. F. Onifade, and the Bossa, Mr. Chukwunwike Ekpeazu. I thank the Dean, College of Physical Sciences, a gentleman, Professor A.T. Akinwale, all heads of departments, professors, teaching and non-teaching staff of the college for your friendship and cooperation. I recognize in a special way Professor J. Oguntuashe, O.D. Akinyemi, G.A. Adebayo, and A.O. Mustafa, O.J. Adeniran, and A.S. Shodia, and Dr. Mrs. Fumilayo Alatishi. I thank all my senior colleagues, now retired, Professors F.O. Bamiro, who is here with us today, O.O. Dukoya, and F.T. Taiwo. I must not forget Professor O. Ashiribo, late. May his gentle soul rest in peace. I owe my colleagues in the Department of Chemistry a debt of gratitude for the cordial relationship since I joined this university. I thank the current head of department, Professor Mopelola Idowu, and Professors E.O. Dare, A.K. Akinlabi, L.A. Arogundade, S. Adewuyi, and A.A. Lasisi. Doctors Temilade Akinyomi, A.I. Adeogun, S.A. Amolegbe, Caroline Akinremi, T.A. Afolabi, O.S. Sojinu, F.O. Oladoyinbo, O. Aremu, A.D. Adeshino, and F. Akinyomi. I acknowledge most sincerely the technical assistance rendered by Dr. T.A. Afolabi in preparation of this lecture. I thank all technical and secretarial staff in the Department of Chemistry. I thank my teachers at all levels, especially Mrs. Toyin Oluwabusola, my secondary school chemistry teacher, who kindled my interest in subjects. I was one of those students who applied to read chemistry in the university. I appreciate too all my former lecturers and mentors at the University of Benin, in particular, Professors Dele Sonny, Samuel I. Ahonkai late, and Dr. Mrs. Dorcas Oko, my undergraduate supervisor. I recognize specially and appreciate my PhD supervisor, Professor Felix Okieme, for the solid foundation he gave me on research in polymer science and for playing a significant role in my academic career progression. I thank you very much, sir. I cannot forget to appreciate Dr. Paul Crony, who facilitated my bench work at the University of Arizona in USA, as well as providing invaluable technical and material support for it. I thank all my numerous former and present research students for their dedication, hard work, commitment, and invaluable contributions to some of the work presented in this lecture. In this regard, I thank in particular all my past doctoral students, Professor Eli Arogundade, Dr. Osonyaolu, Dr. Yomi Bamishaye, and those I co-supervise, Professor O.M. Folarin, Dr. Frank Biotidara, and Dr. Emmanuel Samuel, and all others too numerous to list. You are all appreciated. I appreciate too all the master's students that graduated under my supervision and over 100 undergraduate students that have passed through my tutelage since I joined this university. I have enjoyed valued friendship of many colleagues from within and other universities. Professor and Professor Mrs. Steve Afolami, Professor and Professor Mrs. A.B. Idowu, Professor and Professor Mrs. Goke Bondunde, and Dr. Mrs. Linda Onwuka, Professor Biola Philip, Professor O.B. Kehinde, Professor Ibiyemi Olaiwola, Professor Bosede Shotiloye, and Professor Folake Owensho, Professor C.O.N. Ikiobi, Dr. Mrs. Regina Ubaja, Dr. Mrs. Tolulope Oboto. Others include Professor Esther Ikoria, Professor Mary Edema, and Professor Jire Ajayi, Professor Adetutu Ajayi of Augustine University Ilara Ekpe, Professor Chiedu Mafiana, and Professor Sunday Osemiaho, Modimo Adama University of Technology, Yola. I fondly appreciate my childhood and family friends and colleagues all over, far too many to mention by name. However, permit me to specially recognize Professor G.D. Elemo and his wife, Professor Mrs. Gloria Elemo, former DG FIRO, Professor Caroline Mbese Unilag, Professor Mrs. Sarah Anyanwu, University of Abuja, Dr. Mrs. Beatrice Jaji, Engineer Osage, and Honorable Mrs. Bless Osage Ebuanwo, Commodore and Mrs. Jim Egbele, and Mr. and Mrs. Funsho Idowu. Others include Professor and Mrs. Kayode Olurin, Professor Tunde Olutunla, late, Professor Mrs. Grace Olutunla, Mrs. F. Alade of the Staff School, Engineer Dupe Shodimu, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Adebo, and Reverend Mrs. A. Adeyemo. I valued your friendship and thank you all for your varied support over the years. Special thanks to Mr. A. Udofia, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Daudu, Mrs. Wuraola Badmos, Mrs. Shakirat Giwa, Mr. Gafar Adebayo, Mr. Kehinde O. Emerua, and all the administrative staff and technical staff for their assistance during my tenure as DVC and Chairman University's Admissions Committee. To members of my Catholic faith, and particularly the Catholic Bishop of Abeokuta Diocese, His Lordship, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Oluka Odeodeto Imbo, I appreciate you for providing spiritual support to my family. I appreciate the St. Anne's family, in particular, Sir and Lady T. Akiniyi, Dr. and Mrs. Oladimeji, Dr. and Mrs. O. Ashade, Mrs. Agnes Okodwa, Mr. and Mrs. Ndanlele, Mrs. Milo Kama, Mrs. Stella Sawyer, Mr. and Mrs. J. Nadi, Catholic Women Organization, and Holy Childhood Association. God bless all the Catholic priests and the Reverend Sisters of Notre Dame d'Amour for spiritual support. I salute the chairman and all members of the Chemical Society of Nigeria Ogun State Chapter, led by its chairman, Dr. O. Babajide, and members of the University of Benin Alumni Association, Ogun State Chapter, led by Dr. O. Shotayo. Please let me pause at this moment to pray for the repose of the soul of the past chairman of the University of Alumni Association, Alhaji Rashid Adeshino, who passed on recently. May his soul rest in peace. To God be the glory for the gift of our children and grandchildren, and for being faithful and merciful to them always. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I have come this far with the encouragement, with the support of a gentleman, a caring and a God-fearing friend. An unrepentant activist and husband, Professor Igodalo Clement Eromosele. I am highly indebted to this gentleman. May God reward your show of love for me, the children, and the grandchildren. I thank you all for your kind attention. In closing, the 67th inaugural lecture, please join me to sing this song. Please rise and join me in singing this song. Thank you very much.
I want to make or state an appreciation and an acknowledgement using Mama as a point of making that appreciation. All the women I've worked with inaugural lecturer of the university. And also, we are presenting this basket of FUNAAB products to her. Some people would like to make some presentations now, and I want them to be ready. Department of Chemistry, FUNAAB, National Association of University Women, Professor EROMOSELE's postgraduate students, Chemical Society of Nigeria, UNIBEN Alumni Association. They should please start coming up.
With the permission of the Vice Chancellor, please will all the human cations and anions that make the chemistry family bond stand up and remain standing. On behalf of the Department of Chemistry, ma'am. I present to you this token as our own Professor Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE, the 67th inaugural lecturer at FUNAAB. Congratulations, ma'am. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chancellor. We stand here on behalf of the Nigerian Association of University Women, FUNAAB chapter, to make this presentation to one of our members, a very good one, Professor Mrs. Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE, an award of excellence presented to you by NAU, FUNAAB chapter, but with the headquarters at Geneva, and on this occasion of the 67th inaugural lecture presented by you. Congratulations.
I'm also a member of NAU.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Mama, as we usually called her, on behalf of Chemical Society of Nigeria, ably led by Professor Chendo, and I happen to be the Deputy Vice President in charge of Southwest. And my name is Dr. Sewano Bankole. On behalf of all Chemical Society members of Nigeria, and for those of us that are Chemical Society members in the house, could you please stand on your feet in honor of our mama? I know we have so many members in this house. On behalf of Chemical Society of Nigeria, Mommy, we are presenting this on this occasion of your presentation of your inaugural lecture. God bless you, ma'am. Yes.
Which?
Standing on the existing protocol, on behalf of the doctoral students of our erudite supervisor, myself and my colleagues, we hereby show our heartfelt appreciation for you to have equipped us with all that is required to shoot for the stars. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. On behalf of myself and my colleague, we hereby present you this. Congratulations, ma.
College of Physical Sciences, the Dean, Physical Sciences. Who is the person? No. Department. No. Go later.
On behalf of staff member, College of Physical Sciences, we wish to associate with our pioneer dean, pioneer Deputy Vice Chancellor Academy from College of Physical Sciences, Professor Mrs. Catherine Oluyemisi EROMOSELE, on the 66th inaugural lecture. We wish Mama and entire family, Professor Aisha EROMOSELE, the children, grandchildren, a memorable years ahead in a good mood and sound health. Congratulations, ma, on this beautiful event. Thank you. Thank you, ma.
Uniben Alumni Association, Ogun State Branch. Worldwide. Uniben Alumni Association worldwide.
The Vice Chancellor, sir, let me crave your indulgence to inform you that we have among us here the former National President worldwide, an honorable, and let me also say, a son. And let me also say that among us, even those seated over there, the husband of our mama, Professor EROMOSELE, is also one of us. And so that I don't waste much time, I want to present this on behalf of all of us, the executive, members of Ogun State Alumni Association and worldwide. On this occasion of your 67th inaugural lecture, we want to felicitate with you. We identify with you. You have done us proud on this successful lecture. Congratulations.
Thank you. Everybody, you can sit now. Thank you very much. On behalf of the inaugural lecturer, we want to extend our appreciation to all of us who are here. And I think it is very right for me to start with Professor Untitled EROMOSELE. Baba EROMOSELE, good day. Mrs. F.T. Ayeni, she's the sister of the inaugural lecturer. Mrs. Ayeni, you are welcome, ma'am. Mr. P.T. Bankole is the brother. Can we recognize you? You are welcome, sir. Mr. and Dr. Mrs. EROMOSELE, son and daughter. You are welcome. Mrs. I.C. Obiaji, daughter. I.C. Obiaji. Why are you there? Miss O.E. EROMOSELE, daughter. I hope the protocol did the right thing. They shouldn't have sat there. Michael Obiaji, grandson. Ireoluwa EROMOSELE, granddaughter. Eige EROMOSELE, grandson. Ngozi Obiaji, granddaughter. We welcome you all to the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. I'm going to the list of guests now. And I'm starting with Honorable Justice J. Oshoreni, Justice Court of Appeal. Honorable Justice, you are welcome, sir. Oba Lawrence Odeyinka Olu of Shiunland. You are welcome, sir. Professor Obioyewole, former VC FUNAAB. Professor Lolade Enikomeyin, former acting VC FUNAAB. He's wearing an autumn cap. Professor Steve and Professor Mrs. Caroline Afolami. Welcome, sir. Welcome, madam. Professor Gloria Elemo, former DG, FIRO. You are welcome, madam. Professor Babajide Elemo, LASU. You are welcome, sir. Mrs. A.O. Elemo, family friend. You are welcome. Babatuni Arowolo, former DVC. Professor Morenike Dikolu, former DVC. Dr. Linda Nwoka, you are welcome, ma'am. Let them see you. Many of them do not know you are retired, though. You are welcome. Baba Femi Bamiru, FUNAAB retiree. Professor Caroline Umebese, Department of Botany, UNILAG. Welcome, ma'am. Professor Grace Olutula, friend. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Isaac Shewanu Bankole, Deputy VP, Chemical Research of Nigeria. Welcome. Dr. Ferdinand Oguntoye, former Director, ICTREC. Where is he? Dr. Oguntoye. Oh. Dr. Mukaila Shotayo, Chairman, UNIBEN Alumni Association. Welcome to FUNAAB. Members of Uniben Alumni Association of State, can you please stand up? All the alumni from Uniben. You are welcome. Members of College of Physical Sciences, we recognize you. Let's see your beautiful attire that is chemicalized. Let's see the. You are welcome. Members of Chemistry Department, you are all welcome. Other friends of the family present and great FUNAABites. Chief Christopher Shueton, CEO, AISME Ventures. Chief Shueton, members of Abeokuta Sports Club. Members of Abeokuta Sports Club. Please stand up, you need to be recognized. I know why you are here. I know you are friends of Babatu. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the ICTRE crew. They've done well with supporting us with the logistics. The same thing with the Boys and Girls Brigade. And everyone, the security men, everybody who is here, we thank you all. Thank you and God bless.
Please, let's sustain the applause for the Vice Chancellor, Professor Felix Kolawole Salako. It makes the jobs easier for us, particularly when it comes to recognizing our eminent personalities here. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Well, hospitality, I want to say, is part of our business in this university. That is why we have College of Food Science and Human Ecology. So we want to entertain our guests, but we love doing it in a way that you will like. We bring in orderliness. And because of that, I want to plead with you passionately to please kindly listen to how the order of entertainment will go shortly after the closing of the 67th inaugural lecture. All invitees of the inaugural lecturer, including church members, well-wishers from University of Benin, Chemical Society of Nigeria, family members, sport clubs, and other clubs that are here. You are, sirs and ma'ams, to exit through the exit on the left-hand side. Immediately after that exit, there is a hall there where you are going to be well attended to. You are going to be served. Please, we don't want anybody to intrude or make incursion into the entertainment plan that we have for you. So we are pleading with you, if you are church members of the inaugural lecturer, you are from the University of Benin, you are also from Chemical Society of Nigeria, family members, and sport club, particularly the Salute, the Abeokuta Sport Club. Please, you will be entertained on this left exit. After this left exit, that is where we are going to entertain you. On my right exit, we are entertaining bigotries on the I table, and of course, the procession. So, which means that the eminent personalities on the I table and the academic procession, we are going to entertain you on this right-hand side, and you are to exit, sirs and ma'ams, through this right-hand side. As non-academic staff and academic staff that are not in the procession, as well as students, you are to stay behind for your own entertainment here. And you are also to exit through the main entrance. Thank you so much. Suffice to also inform that we have a bunch of keys here. It belongs to someone here. It's lost and found. Please, if you are the owner of this key, it's a Toyota vehicle key, please see me after the program. Thank you so much. Well, I've just been informed that we have a delegation of Augustine University staff members with us this afternoon. We want to specially recognize you. That is the university where our own Professor Steve Afolami served as Vice Chancellor, and he impacted positively in that university. And that is the more reason why you are here today. I want to say that the Vice Chancellor acknowledged your presence here and is saying a big thank you for coming. Thank you so much. distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, shall we all rise first for FUNAAB Anthem, then thereafter the national anthem. Thank you so much. National anthem. Thank you so much. We want to thank you all for coming. Right now, we allow the procession to please exit. We have to give them the much deserved respect while we remain standing or seated as the processions exits through the left, right hand side here. Professor Mr. Bola Adekunle, the registrar, Dr. Bola Adekunle, Mr. Chukwuemeka Sebiazu, of course, the chairman of CODAT, Professor Wilfred Adekunle, representative of the National Nigerian, Dr. Bangore, of course, the Procession, all our eminent personalities here. We should remember that all the guests of the inaugural lecturer from his church, the Catholic faithful, from Abeokuta Sport Club, family members are to be entertained. Behind this left exit, which means you are to, yes, we can see. Your receptionist is waving his hand there. Let's follow all the guests of the inaugural lecturer from University of Benin, from Clinical Society of Nigeria, from Abeokuta Sport Club and other clubs, family members from Catholic churches. You are to be entertained on the left hand side. Just follow. On the right hand side, the Annealing processions and